What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Blade Dragons podcast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Elliot.
And we are the Blade Dragons. We have just finished watching the 19th episode of the Beyblade X anime, and this one was actually kind of interesting. I'm going to go as far as to say it's my second favorite episode, apart from the gym episode, which was, I think, 15 or whatever. That one's still... I don't think anything's beating that one. But this one was actually kind of interesting, and we get to see Bird win something. It may not be a Beyblade battle, but at least he wins something. So we're going to get all into that. We also have some extra stuff that we're going to talk about in regards to Beyblade X's toy line. We're going to take some ideas from Mattel, and we'll get into all of that. First, let's get into this episode of the anime. Elliot, I'll let you take it away this time.
Well, first of all, your favorite episodes are filler episodes. That's pretty funny. That's a good thing to point out there that, out of... What did we just say? 19 episodes. The two that stood out was a training episode and I guess it was, I don't know, it was considered filler, I would assume, but it had a good concept that linked back to the original storyline. But this episode we are introduced to Team Persona and Team Zooganic in the zoo. So they're doing a Bay Battle event. And as I said, and I believe in the last episode, if the AI DJ or Ichigo have ever left the X Tower, and I literally said it, wasn't Ichigo at the zoo? In this episode, she appears at the zoo. It was pretty funny. But yes, the 4X system, or however Ichigo, Blade, or AI work, apparently is able to travel to other locations. So sentience outside of X Tower confirmed. Which is pretty funny to see that she appeared, and she had some more forms that we've seen her in. I think only her main character form, but I think this time we got maybe a couple extra characters of Ichigo. One is right here. She was a little rabbit bunny, and this is a very cool art style. It's almost like a watercolor, and they've done a lot of cool art designs for like. Exclamation or whatever, and I wish they did this more, because this is a really cool art style that they just threw in there for like 2 seconds. I was like, yo, Metal, rewind that. We need to get a screenshot of that, because they actually have some really cool artwork that's just a different art style that they should really start working a different art style into it. But anyway, Ichigo was a little rabbit, and we saw her in a couple scenes there. So that was fun. We get a little more Ichigo lore since we're outside of the X Towers and the sushi shop. We have just Bird. I don't know why I took this screenshot, but we have Bird and Malty. I think I missed the frame before that.
Oh, well. I think I forgot what that frame was. I think it was probably like Ichigo and her actual like rabbit hologram. Or maybe something like that. Let's see what the next one was. Oh yeah, there it is.
I think I was trying to get this one.
Yeah. So we got the Bybird. So we got Ichigo. It was pretty interesting to see
and then
that
the subtitles also there.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we got the braiders in this episode. We're not Beyblading. We're Beybraiding apparently.
But it also says that there's 321 bladers in this the zoo tournament here. Which is way more than we expected. I think we might have gotten a screenshot of the crowd. I swear there was like 60 people there.
Yeah, so we get like kind of a bit of a shot of the crowd here. No shot that's, I mean, maybe 100 if we're being generous with the off screens on either side, but no way that we're looking at 321 participants. We also get these other Ichigo costumes. There's like the lion, and then there's the rabbit. So basically, they're doing a tag tournament, and all of the amateur bladers are wearing rabbit ears, and then all the pro bladers are not. So the pro bladers run around and chase the rabbit ear people, the amateurs. Oh, excuse me, and I haven't eaten a whole. Actually, I ate like 2 pizzas, and I'm eating 2 bags of chips and juice now, so it's they were very small pieces, mind you.
Anyway, so I did just roughly count the front lines there of the spectators. There's 10 in each row there. 10, maybe 7 deep. There's only like maximum 140 people on the screen right now. So I don't know if they're still scattered around or whatnot, but obviously, if the art style of this doesn't really portray or allow for the portrayal of like 300 people in the screen, that they want to do like more detail compared to just like smudges on the screen that I've seen in other past animes or whatever. So we'll let it slide, but they did double the number compared to what is possibly portrayed on screen.
Yeah, one thing I think is a little disappointing with this anime is the fact that they cut corners so often like that, where we see this. They're like, oh, there's 321 people, where they could have easily animated, that amount by, having like, 3 rows in the front, closer up to the view and, more detailed. And then as it goes farther back, it's more just drawn circles here and there in like a sea of, just, one color. And past animes would do that and it looked fine. But here, I guess, for whatever reason, they're just not doing that, even though you would think that that would take, obviously, a lot less time to actually do, since you're only drawing maybe about 60 or so actual people, and then the rest are just filled in and copy-pasted dots with different colors in them.
And now that I look at this, I want to say a lot of these are copy-pasted and different colored, because like the dude in the front, in the green, blue pants on the right, and then there's the left with blue shirt, green pants, same shirt, same pants, different colors, and then the other dudes all have like the same outfit. They're just different colors. So obviously, I don't blame them. I completely respect using the drawings you already made, because obviously each drawing does take a significant amount of time. So I don't blame them there. It's just the fact that it's not portrayed, like they didn't pan around the entire zoo and see like lines funneling out or whatever. It's like they could have done it and kept the shot if they did another filler shot or whatever. But good on them for wanting to keep the detail in there and not just kind of throw a sea of colors in there. Obviously, there's different ways to portray it, but just interesting thing, thought we pointed out there.
Yeah, very interesting style choice for this anime, for sure. But basically, they explain the rules of the tag, which basically are, you got all the amateurs and bunny ears, and then all of the pros don't. And it's Team Persona and Team Zooganic, so you got 6 pros and 320 whatever participants to catch. And basically, if you get caught, you bay battle, and if you win, I think the pro gets knocked out, and if you lose, then you're out. So there's also a time limit, apparently, which they do mention here, and that will come back later. But we also see Ichigo with the watermelon wizard, it looks like, or one of them.
The reverse watermelon.
And it's kind of interesting. So does that mean that Ichigo can Beyblade with her own, like, 4X hologram Beyblade, maybe? Like, that'd be kind of interesting. We did see that sort of simulated firewall battle Madoka did in Metal Fight. So maybe we get to actually see, like, imagine a all-out battle between DJ AI and AI Ichigo. That'd be so sick.
See, the thing is, this could happen. We did see 4X hit a real Beyblade. So what's saying a 4X Beyblade couldn't hit a real Beyblade, with that wizard arrow shot there. So, we still never got an answer on if that was a thing that was supposed to happen. But the lore and the canon is out there now, supposedly.
Yeah, we've not really sure exactly on some of the decisions that they make with this anime, but one thing is for sure is that it does get crazy sometimes, and who knows what they'll do compared to the manga. Although at this point, we appreciate the anime a little more than how the manga is treating things. But anyways, moving on. That is the premises pretty much for this episode, which is very interesting. However, it's funny because Team Persona is sitting in the back room apparently of the zoo, and they had no idea that they were the featured team, which kind of doesn't make sense. I'm pretty sure that they would really inform them, like, hey guys, like, you're supposed to be here for this event at this time, and this is like probably 2030s, I want to say, if this is like consistent with our reality, like 2030s to 50s. I want to say with the hologram technology and all that, the AI,
What do you mean 2030s, 50s?
like 2030s, 2050s.
Oh, like year-wise.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Sorry, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is probably about a I want to say like 1 to 3 decades down the road from where we
Probably,
are
yeah.
currently. That's my estimate, which is
We get architecture that defies physics.
I hope so. Eh, yeah. Well, yep. I think that'd be kind of interesting, just as long as it's
See,
not in New York.
we have this now. Everyone's just wearing Apple Vision Pro. Ichigo's here, I'm just blading.
Little do we know, the entirety of Beyblade X takes place in the metaverse in VR or whatever, and they all wake up and it's like Sword Art Online. Oh, that'd be funny as hell. But
Beyblade X is actually inside Webkins.
they revived Club Penguin for Beyblade X to exist in. Oh god.
You know what? I just brought that up, but I'm mad. They deleted my Webkins account.
Oh, that.
They refreshed the servers, and if you didn't log in before they refreshed it, they deleted your account. I'm pissed.
Damn, that sucks. I never got into
Yeah.
Webkins or Club Penguin. I was into Pop
Only
Tropica for a
Webkins.
little bit though. Although Pop Tropica I didn't really care for that much. I don't know. I liked Minecraft better, but either way. I was a Minecraft kid. They apparently didn't tell Team Persona that they were battling in this event, so we get a bird face and they're just kind of rushing out.
Yeah. It's interesting that Malty allowed that to happen. That's like really weird that why would you be at the zoo if you weren't planning to watch it in person or perform in it? That's just kind of a funny thing that they were just sitting like in the cafe somewhere at the zoo watching the real life event
No,
at the zoo.
that would make sense because they get like all the camera coverage and everything. Because it's like, everyone's spidered throughout the zoo, so it's not like, they're at one central location.
Wouldn't you think that'd be the same thing on TV?
I mean, yeah, it probably would be. So, I mean, they didn't have to be at the zoo, but I mean, even if they are
Yeah.
at the zoo, they're still not going to be able to get like the full scope of everything if they're out and about.
Yeah, but also the other times they went to the zoo, they were in disguise. So it's not like they can just sneak into the zoo without anyone noticing them. So they're not reminded that they're supposed to be there. So there's a few plot holes here, but it's just funny.
There's a couple of things that don't make sense, but I guess Multi forgot, or maybe Maiden was too busy carrying Taisho around or something. And
We all know Kamen's the brain of the bunch. He messed up.
yeah, he probably like thought the note that they sent was food and ate it by accident, so they never actually
Thought it was
got it.
a wrapper.
He thought it was sushi tape to hold the fish on top of the rice ball. Anyways, they messed that up a little bit, so they're scrambling around and ooh, Kamen is getting hyped up for it. I think this is when he was talking to King.
I think so, yeah.
Before they had like a little bit of pre-hype when Bird gets lost, and it was kind of interesting. And then we also get this amazing face from Chopin here. This face is this is amazing. What is going on inside that head? And then we just got Toguro looking miserable, absolutely done. Dude does not want to be here. Oh,
Yeah. The
his
subtitles
face.
are pretty good on this. I don't know what kind of bird it is. Pew 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 pew. Oh, bird.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, this is so good. This is definitely gonna be This is gonna reappear.
Maltese the reaction, yes.
But
There's some very good screenshots in this anime. I can't lie.
indeed, there was definitely a lot of interesting things that we've seen so far, and we still have like about 31 episodes left or so, 31, 32.
Yep. That's the math.
Still got a long way to go with this one, so we're definitely getting more of these awesome screenshots. But anyways, Bird kind of gets hijacked by by one of the park employees and suited up in a amateur outfit, which is kind of interesting. Oh, we also see one of the dudes got the shark edge. Pretty cool to see. I was about to have a massive hiccup there, but we're good. We So Bird's all decked out in his birdie, his bird ears, his bunny ears, and he's ready. Well, not ready, rather, to participate in the event, but he's got to anyways. So everyone sets off. I think King just goes to like one spot and just waits for everyone to come to him. And Togru and Chopin go and they chase their opponents, and so does Multi and X, except Kamen just falls flat down. He's got no stamina whatsoever. We were joking. It's the attack type shoes that he's wearing that we always mess around about. It's
They're
massive.
like as big as his arms.
Yeah, these things are like massive.
Like full on talons.
I don't know what Gucci was thinking when they dropped those, but
And it's probably Balenciaga, you know.
definitely Balenciaga. I mean, and they probably charged him like $2,000 for that pair of shoes, and he paid it because he's professional.
He doesn't want to crease them. That's why he doesn't run.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's real. Never get a new pair of Jordans. You try your hardest not to crease them.
Until it's like 2 weeks later.
Yep, 2 weeks later you trip on the stairs.
We'll just whatever. Yeah, you stub your toe. Damn it, they're scuffed.
It's like, oh no, I broke my toe, but my shoe got creased. No, the travesty. Shoe culture be like, but Kamen just kind of dips out of that at that point. He goes and sits at the restaurant. Bird actually catches up to him, which is funny. And Kamen tries to catch him, but we find out Bird's actual talent in his life is not Beyblading, but it's actually the martial arts and parkour. This man is able to dodge everything, and we'll see that later on in the episode. And before we get into that, I'm just gonna delete all the other notes real quick. We get to talk about UX again today. So we get an ad here for Beyblade UX, and they show the actual Beyblade. So we've mostly been just seeing the renders, and I gotta say the renders aren't really that great in my opinion. I mean, they're all right, but actually seeing the real product is really nice, and we get to see these interesting bays. So for those of you who somehow have not have managed to miss all of the UX content that has been out on YouTube, I know I've talked about it in like 2 or so videos. And have you talked about it on your channel yet, Elliot?
No. Well, I think on stream that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. But yeah, you guys watching this episode, make sure you go check out our UX video. It should be released at the beginning of this week, so you know. If you haven't, you know, check out our channel. You know, we broke down all the products and everything on it. So yeah, UX is something you can't really escape it in the community. But these look very different. They look a lot more bulky in the renders. I don't know if it's like the angles or whatever, but I don't know. They look a little more flat now that we have like the real metal, which I don't know.
You know, I'm noticing the weird sort of like reflection, is it, on like Wizard Rod over here? Like, does this look like it's painted?
I'm sure these
Photoshop?
I'm sure these are still CGI.
I think there is an element, or there maybe it's the like, maybe it looks like they're filming it on white, because you can kind of see like a light reflection here, and how there's nothing under the blade, and it's like the undersides look very like sort of.
I'm sure they're very touched up.
Yeah, I imagine there is a level of touching, but maybe the bottom of the wherever they were filming is white. You can kind of see it. Actually, they did a good job reflecting the effects.
Yeah, no, that's very solid artwork.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm sure it's a combination between CGI, a lot of Photoshop, and I'm sure the bit chip is I'm sure most of this is just rendering with realistic reflections and textures.
Yeah,
just like similar to the commercials they make.
Yeah, I imagine so. Yeah, that makes sense. They look all right for the most part. Not too bad. Again, interesting designs, and the purpose of these, the plastic prongs and less metal is so that there's more outward force on the blades rather than the more, like centrifugal design of the normal Beyblades, where they've got the metal prongs and there's a lot of weight towards the center and everything. The bit chips
And
also don't move in this, so there's no protector on them, which is kind of
and
interesting.
I'll just mention now that we have seen this in past generations. The first time hearing that reminds me of the weight discs in Bakuten Shoot, that they have heavies and balance. The balance always has like a little indent on the outside, and it has supposedly more outwards rotation compared to the heavies that have just a flat brick of metal. So it's not a new concept distributing the weight outwards. I'm sure they had plenty of other things in the other generations, but I just thought that was the first thing that came to my mind. So we'll have to compare this to see what the actual effects are, but it's going to be interesting that we've seen. T&J made a video with a concept DX or whatever the wizard rod bit is, and it looks like it could be pretty cool. King in my Discord server has 3D printed the bit, and the LED looks like it's pretty good. That could be a meta part for stamina. I am very looking forward to seeing how that works.
Considering that it adds weight because it's got the extra ring around it, and that's that adds like probably a decent amount, probably like a couple grams I'd imagine on it. That's I think disc ball is just going to completely take over ball at that point as a meta part, because you get that added LED from the disc. Not to mention the extra weight makes it a bit heavier and harder to knock out. So I think we're going to be seeing ball take over for meta. Accelerate, also very interesting, and Hex because they have 16 teeth on the bits instead of the normal 12, or in Rush's case, the 10 split gears to make it slower. These Beyblades are actually designed to go faster than your normal X-Bay, so I think Excel, or is it? Yeah, I think it's Excel is going to be a...
I thought it was Excel, yeah.
Yeah, I guess they're just stealing the burst name now. But Excel is going to end up being a meta part probably for attack types, although I would imagine because it is much faster, there is a higher chance of self-KO. Granted, we will see probably some change in that when we get the release of the 3-player stadium, because right now we only have the standard extreme stadium. So once we get the 3-player stadium, we're going to be seeing probably a lot different strategies going on. We're also going to be seeing 3-player battles become a thing, and possibly 4 and 5, considering how big it is. So that we are definitely getting on the 3-player train. We're going to be using the big stadiums, which also might mean
We did actually get footage of Beyblades in that stadium, and it looks very chaotic. The point system is different. I believe we got the point system. I saw a video on it that it's like there's 2 or 3 different ways that you can score points in it, or 2 different game modes you can really play in it. We'll break that down maybe another video. But looking at the footage in the giant stadium, definitely looks like it could have more potential for these faster, bigger, stronger bays. And the one thing that we had with Tripio was how it would work on the extreme line. And now I'm thinking, how's Wizard Rod going to work? Is it going to scrape if it hits the extreme line at a certain angle and kill itself? We'll have to see.
Yeah, at an angle maybe, but I think for the most part it should be fine, because I think they put the disc high in. I think the disc is replacing the plate on the bit.
Pretty high, yeah.
Yeah, so it's they definitely kept in mind the gear bit, but I think we definitely have a lot to talk about in terms of the idea that T&J came up with, where he made a sort of like cap that you can stick on the bits. So I do want to talk a bit about product talk, and I did mention this on Mim's latest Beyblade News stream, which he did, I think, this past Saturday, but we'll get into that later. So we've got a new UX ad, and one thing they did was they showed off the 2 UX starters and the booster. Obviously, these are the things that we're going to get very soon. March 30th is the release date, so pretty late in the month. It's very interesting to see them go. They were releasing, very much earlier on in the months. We saw, July 15th, and then I think August 13th.
I think it was like the 7th, like literally the first weekend of August or whatever.
There was like the little
August, September.
They had like
Night Shield was like one of the first weeks of the month during Nightlands.
Yeah, we went from very early on in the months, and then in December they switched it, and we got everything later in the month, and that stayed. that's staying true for at least for now. We got December 27th, and then I think like January 22nd, and then February 27th is Sphinx Cowl. So actually only just about a week left for Sphinx Cowl to come out, and then we got another month to go for UX to officially drop. And I think it's going to be intriguing, although I got to say I'm more excited for the 3-player stadium. We'll definitely touch on that later. One thing that was very interesting with this shot here, though, was the amount of Beyblades that they showed. Because they showed quite a few Beyblades off in this. I wanted to see which Beyblades they showed, and it looks like a mix of Beyblades from all throughout. One thing
It's all of them, except there's a few duplicates, so maybe they didn't have enough to fill up the shot.
No,
but
they
I
definitely
think it's
did.
pretty close to all of them.
They definitely did have enough to fill up the shot, because I'm seeing some Random Booster Volume 2 Beyblades that are missing. There's also no Dronzer or Drake or Phoenix Swing. Those are missing because we're seeing BX05 Wizard. We've got the Piss Viper from the BX16. We've got the BX08, I want to say. We got the deck set shield. We've got the Blue Viper Tail from Random Volume 2. Wyvern's over in the back. We also got the Purple Knight Shield from BX20 with Drawn Dagger. We've got Red Land from the Random Booster 2. Shark and Hells from Random Booster 2. We also got Normal Shark Edge, Night Lance, and Drawn Sword. Another booster pack, or deck set, Hellside. There's just a bunch of them here, but they're missing. It looks like I don't see the Night Lance from...
the yellow one?
Yeah, I don't see the yellow one. I don't see the yellow one. I don't see the black one from Random Booster 2. I don't...
There's no Ice Wizard from the starter or from the stadium.
Yep.
There's no red black drawn sword.
There's no Phoenix Feather. There is no Phoenix Wing or Dronzer or Cobalt.
I'd assume with those ones they didn't want to really make the picture look different, because I'm sure if they had Phoenix, Dronzer, and Cobalt, your eyes would just go directly to them instead of the BX or the UX.
Maybe.
Saying that they stand out.
It's possible. That also brings
psychology and marketing.
Yeah, I mean, very, very similar stuff happens. With the colors, they don't want to make something stand out too much, which definitely makes sense. Oh, we got the yellow Wyvern. Kind of took me a minute to get that one. Got another Night Lance. There's 2 of those. I think Blahaj Shark is over here. It could be a second Wyvern, but I think it's Blahaj Shark. There's just a bunch of them. There's also 2 Night Shields very close to each other. Land Claws in the center. I think Rhino Horn is sitting under the March 30th, and I think that's another Shark Edge. Just very interesting assortment of Beyblades, and certainly a few they missed. I'm surprised Phoenix Feather didn't make it in. I'm not sure what was up with that, so who knows?
I can't buy it, so I don't know.
I'd rather put in like all the interesting stuff and have eye candy in there, but I guess they didn't want to do that for this for whatever reason. But one thing that's interesting that I just kind of thought about is are we gonna see painted UX Beyblades? Because I think what UX is gonna end up being is just a like alternate. It's basically a subsystem, so it's still System 1. Except it just it redistributes the weight in a different way than the normal than the BX releases. So I think we're probably going to see a few more like different variations of X per system. I think that we might end up having that happen, which is a unique way to vary the product.
Unique.
There you go. It's an interesting way to vary the product. Like spread without having to like play into gimmicks so far. And one thing that I'm very curious about is, are we going to be seeing a BX and UX, or one or the other, for the first left spin and possibly dual spin Beyblade whenever that happens? Because Lightning Eldrago is supposedly going to be coming out for Metal Fight. That was the #1 pick from the fans, but they're starting with Storm Capricorn. Until I am proven wrong, I am saying that silhouette we saw was Storm Capricorn. Nothing will change my mind until they if they disprove it. I'm on the Storm Capricorn train, but anyways, very very curious to see what they do. Considering we have now two, two subsystems within the general first system of X. What are they gonna do for the left spin or dual spin base? So I think there's a lot of questions that will get answered down the line.
I
But
think if they bring back dual spin Beyblades, I will cry because that's so hype. I loved when I was a child with the HMS Beyblades, just throwing them on random directions. Well, obviously, it's a pro and con because durability-wise, but I don't know. If it was something, that'd be really cool. But at the same time, I think at this point, they would probably scrap that idea because that forces you to not want to buy a certain left spin Beyblade if they just start releasing dual spin. But I don't know. It'd be pretty cool if they made whatever, that it was dual spin or only left spin or something. Those could be some fun ideas.
it would be interesting to see an entire subsystem dedicated to a certain spin direction, but I don't know if they would do that necessarily. It could be done in theory, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see if that's something that does happen, because it is possible. But I think for dual spin and left spin, it's gonna be it's all limited to the blade, since that is the only part needed to attach to the launcher. I'm pretty sure. You don't need the
The ratchet does matter which direction it is because they both have L and R on them already. So the ratchet will be affected by the blade. So in theory, the only thing that should be standard between left and right spin will be the bit, which we'll see how
the bit
that interferes.
Really?
What? Yeah,
not
the bit's universal between spin directions.
Wait a well, yeah, the bit is universal, and then
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, the
ratchet has two different.
No, the ratchet is
directions on it.
universal. No, the ratchets are universal.
No, it's got a left and R on it because it's ready to.
You can let's say we get Lightning Eldrago, we get the Lightning Eldrago blade. You can still stick any ratchet on it. It just twists the opposite way.
Yeah, so will that even be a left spin bay if it's bursting the opposite way?
Yeah, it'll be a left spin bay. Well, it spins to
it's never gonna burst if you put a right spin ratchet on it and a left spin bay.
No, but the ratchets aren't exclusive to spin direction.
But we don't know that yet.
But we do know that.
Why do we know that, huh?
Because it says L and R, and you twist.
Yeah, there's L and R, and so there'll be one left, one right.
Are you messing with me?
No, I'm not.
No, because okay.
How are you gonna make a dual spin ratchet on a left spin blade?
No, the ratchets are dual spin. So let me get the Beyblades real quick. Hold on. We gotta.
Yeah, I see. I have them right here. It says left and right.
No, okay. I'm curious as to what part of the thing you're looking at. Oh, I have my launchers in here. All right, so
it says right there on the bottom of the white part ratchet.
Yeah, so
left spin and right spin.
Yeah, so
but it only locks one direction.
No, it locks in both. Here, look, like you just twist it this way, and now it's primed for left spin.
No,
yeah.
It doesn't. Never, ever does that ever. Never.
I swear,
happen.
you're messing
Totally
with
not.
me
Right now. Totally not.
You're messing with me, right? Is this just a long con?
I wish it was, but no, I never turned the ratchet the other way. But yeah, that makes sense.
I was about to say, man. Like, anyways, but yes, no. So, like, it's only the blade that determines the spin direction. I'm pretty sure. Actually, yeah. That's what I wanted to try out. Actually, I want to see if the blade can just hook up to the launcher itself and hang on. Yeah, so right here, I've got the Beyblade on the... we'll move it to this so we can see it a little bit better. We've got the Beyblade on the... we got just the blade on. There's nothing else. And it holds on. So it's only the blade that affects... that holds to the launcher. So the blade is the only part of the Beyblade that is going to determine spin. So I think left spin and dual spin Beyblades will be... We'll probably see those. I don't think they'll be their own subsection, and sadly we won't. I don't know if we'll ever see something like what Plastic Gen did, where you could change the spin direction based on, I think that was based on like the bottom part, right? The spin gear that you stuck into the base, and that determined the direction. Yeah. Yep. So you could have like Dragoon going. You have like a left spin Dragoon going right spin if you wanted on the attack ring on top. That could be done then, but. since they've upgraded it to where the prongs mostly just sit in like the top part of the Beyblade, we haven't really seen that kind of system come back. I think Burst might have done something similar to that, but I don't think it was quite the same, where you could just stick any top um, on the
No, because there was the teeth. The teeth went a certain direction that you couldn't do that.
right, right, and then I think they also had like the just the design of the layers. They had like the little outer edge that showed that it was not near bursting or
Yeah.
whatever. Burst is kind of weird to me, but with X, all of the attack and direction stuff is limited exclusively to the blade. So far, right now, with this first system, it's all very it's similar to Metal Fight in that sense. Actually, how it's you can just stick on the metal wheel without it. So, long story short, in terms of left spin, right spin, you can pretty much put any ratchet, any bit on any Beyblade. The only thing that determines spin direction as of right now, and for System 1 and also UX, this goes the same since they didn't update the launching. I think it still uses the same launchers anyways.
Yeah.
So,
I was surprised. I didn't know that Wizard Rod was a booster instead of a starter. That's interesting that they didn't do 3 starters.
it makes sense though, because they're not doing like a whole ton of UX compared to the normal BX releases that we're getting. So I think like we've got the 2 starters, and then we've got Wizard Rod. I'm curious to see what I think BX04 or UX04 is, or UX05 is a random booster. So I think that's going to be a 6 set again with UX. And I'm curious with that, because that means that we're getting 3 new UX blades potentially, unless they're okay with just having like 2 prize blades and then like 2 wizards and then a buster and a hammer or whatever. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So product talk for now, we'll let that go. And then we also got the UX Stadium set, which is coming out. Did it get nudged? Yeah, I think it got nudged to either April or I think May, actually. Because I think it was coming out in April, and then it got pushed back to May. Zanky did a video on it. You can check his thing out. He made a video discussing that, but I think this got pushed back. Which
That's funny. Then that confirms identical stadium that's already released, that there's no changes. Because if they needed a new stadium, that would have been the first thing out. So that confirms our suspicions from our UX video that the proportions and everything are identical. The only thing you do is get the UX orange extreme line.
which is cool. And now I'm just waiting for that blue line so I can have my portal colors in my stadium.
I'd love a blue line.
Ah, that'd be so sick. Maybe we'll get. I hope we get some different line designs as well. Like I hope we get like the ramp lines that Iron Man has been making, because those would be so sick. Or we get like another output at this edge. That would be kind of interesting to see. They got all kinds of things they can do with the X line. They're already playing into that with the UX and the fatter gear ratios on the bits to make them go a little faster as well. So we'll definitely be seeing more of that down the line. But moving back to the anime now, we have got I believe this was Multi or King, or we were shown Multi and King being able to spot who's holding up their phoenix feather, and it sort of puts a glow on it. And at this point, I feel like we're just dragging now. We did not see Burn, and we did not really get any more updates on Phoenix Wing, or we didn't mention anything about Yggdrasil or the next stage of the X tournament in the X Tower. So while this filler certainly is fun, at this point now that it's been so long since we've seen anything that's driving the story forward, it's starting to get a little monotonous, because this is now like the however many week in a row that it's been filler, and
I want to say 5.
something like that at least. It's been a while, and I think we're starting to get a little. I don't want to speak for you, but I'm getting a little bit sick of the filler now. I mean, the episodes are better for when it's the filler, but I'm also I want the story to progress. I'm kind of sick of it just being the same Beyblades all the time. Like, remember in like the older gens when like every like 2 or like 1 to 3 episodes we would see like new Beyblades or new parts or new
Hmm.
stuff, and now it just feels like we're stuck in the same places and we're stagnating a little bit in terms of variety and everything. We're not
See,
moving
with
forward.
the previous generations, I want to say, or with at least Bakuten Shu, I swear they want more off of the anime selling the products and the products selling themselves. In that they would literally just write the storyline and release the products whenever they hit market. Obviously, I'm not 100% sure on that because I wasn't like conscious when that was a thing. Um, but it just seems that way with the release dates. But I don't know personally. It's just yeah, it's very weird that with older generations they would move through rounds of tournaments or do whatever, and we would get introduced with new Beyblades so frequently. And the newest Beyblade has been teased for like 2 weeks now, and it's or like 5 weeks now in the
Hmm.
anime.
Yeah, I mean,
And that Beyblade's already like probably going to be like 3 months old at that point.
yeah, I mean, Phoenix Swing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been seeing that for a while now because we saw it starting December, and we've
Hmm.
continued to see it throughout January, and now we're almost done with February. Believe it or not, this year's kind of flying away. It's
Hmm.
kind of crazy. But one thing is for sure is that in terms of where we're at in the anime compared to the rest of them, it's been so much slower. We've only seen 2 like major professional battles, and I'm not counting the second Phalanx one, or the third one rather, where they had Phoenix Feather. That doesn't count.
Yeah.
I think that was just more or less like a, I don't know what that was. Maybe that was some kind of like exhibition match or whatever, or some like rematch
Yeah, I
challenge.
think it was just kind of a sponsorship thing that get their brands back out there or whatever. It's just a partnership between Taisho and whatever noodle place to be like, okay, we'll do this, try to promote our businesses, and it just kind of turned into an exhibition to see how Feather actually held up in battle.
Which, eh, I gotta say, I think that episode was just kind of meh in general. If I remember right, it wasn't really the greatest thing in the world, but it wasn't terrible. I did like the Takumi exposition that we did get in that episode, but even that didn't really push the plot forward. And this one doesn't do pretty much anything. I think there's like a small blurb at the end about Phoenix Feather that King is saying, but
It's
it's
something we already knew.
yeah, it wasn't anything like super duper important. So once again, we are seeing the anime stagnate a little in order to, for whatever reason, I'm not entirely sure why. We're getting this level of, I don't want to say like roadblock in the anime, but it's like we're not progressing anywhere. It's like we're on a treadmill now, and they've
Yeah.
turned the speed up too high, so we're just kind of staying in place. But hopefully in the next couple episodes, and we did see the preview for next episode, which looks interesting. It looks like we'll get some more character development for certain characters and more battle development. But at the end of the day, we're also not seeing the we haven't been introduced to the Unicorn Sting owner yet. We haven't seen Zonamos or Burn. We're probably not seeing them next episode. Maybe like at the beginning or the end or whatever. I doubt we'll get anything super interesting. So hopefully episode 21 we'll start seeing some more progression in the story. But as of right now, it's still just kind of dragging.
Drawn dragon. Ah ha 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 ha.
Oh. Now, one thing that we did get to see that was pretty interesting. Oh my goodness. Oh. Wait. Oh, hold on. Oh, wait. Do we get the? Do we get the? Oh, interesting. Okay. So one thing that was very interesting to see was Multi kicking a lot of butt with Wizard Arrow against every kind of bay. I think she also defeated Phoenix Feather. I know
Oh yeah.
we saw King do it, and I think that was a little further on, but still, King, complete legend, absolutely goes past Phoenix Feather. We also end up seeing Kamen like starting to run around, and he's now got a little squadron of lemurs that he's got running after him, and it's very interesting to see. And one of the more interesting screenshots that we got this time is just Kamen carrying a child while he's swinging from a vine like he's Tarzan or George of the Jungle or something. And it was just the goofiest thing.
And the kid is just screaming, so Kamen, child abductor.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Even though Kamen is a child, he's like 13.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean... Yeah, although I guess by that metric, this kid's probably like 5.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he would be 6 based on what the Beyblade recommended age is. I think it's like 6 and up for Japan.
Is
so
it? Okay.
He's got to be 6. Like he just turned 6 that day. And Kamen's like swinging away with him, and then Kamen's also being followed by a lemur, and actually like 2 more go by after this one. It was kind of cute. To see Kamen be at one with the animal. And you can see here he's got them like under some kind of mind control. He's got like the Taylor Swift effect on him. And now they're trying to catch Bird. And one thing that was very interesting throughout this episode is the fact that they gave when Bird is in the bunny ears, he cannot be caught. He was dodging and weaving. He literally like spin slides under a rail. At one point he like cartwheel double backflips over Kamen to escape, and Chopin, who is very quick and very agile,
compact.
That too. She's very compact, agile, and very very swift. Was unable to catch Bird, so I'm thinking that Bird should probably stop doing Beyblade, and he should start trying to become a martial artist at this point.
Yep. Now Bird is he's not letting anyone catch him. His hands are going. He's bopping and weaving. Wax on, wax off. All that type shit. So
all for it.
Yeah. So he might not be good at sumo, but he would definitely be good at like that competitive tag or whatever. Have you seen that? It's like a jungle gym you have to navigate.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Bird would be pretty sick at that.
Yeah, or if he was on like American Ninja Warrior or Wipeout, he'd probably do really good at those.
And those do require upper body strength, and he is pretty buff. So.
I think he could definitely pull off being on one of those shows. That'd be much more interesting. Honestly, if that was the Beyblade anime, I don't think I'd be too mad. Or maybe I would be actually if they're not actually Beyblading. But
it's just doing obstacle courses.
Yeah, it's just Bird doing parkour. Maybe if that was like a special. Maybe if he like quit Beyblading on the team, and they replaced him with like Maiden or whatever, and Maiden like became the new Bird, and started using Hell Scythe and whatnot, and then we just go see Bird doing his like martial art. He becomes like a martial artist or parkour specialist, and he like trains bladers in those arts to help them with their blading. I think that'd be cool, because honestly, Bird just doesn't fit as a character right now. He's not really a protagonist. Also, X is the main character. I saw a Reddit post where it was Takeru Tomy. It was like some piece of advertising or some article or whatever, and it literally said that Kamen X was the main character. So we do get a bit of confirmation there. I wish I thought about that earlier, but the post is on Reddit, on the Beyblade subreddit, and it is, I'm pretty sure, unless I'm being punked and lied to and swindled and hoodwinked and misinformed.
I would assume that they all have, well, the way that it goes is they're all main characters, but obviously there's some that are more prevalent than others. That Kamen's the most important blader on the team, but Bird is obviously supposed to be the face of the team, which we've delved on in the past, which is something kind of weird that the strongest blader is not the captain like every other team. Supposedly, that Bird is the head of Persona that doesn't have a brain in his skull.
Sometimes he does. Sometimes he doesn't. When it comes to Beyblading, his brain disappears. But when it comes to like not Beyblading, he's actually kind of hype. And I think this episode is certainly proof of that. But pretty interesting to see Bird do very well at something that is not Beyblade. And then, yeah. So one thing that was interesting that I did mention a little bit ago is King. very easily defeating Phoenix Feather, getting over finishes and burst finishes, and probably some extreme finishes too. Very ruthless. So we do know that King has stepped up his game significantly and will not, lose to Phoenix Feather, which is interesting compared to Kamen. Although I think, granted, Kamen was not trying to win against Phoenix Feather in his battle with, Takumi in the last episode. I think he was purposely messing with him and not winning and tying on purpose to get him to use to get him to use Mont Blanc. And we went over that last week. So if you want to check that out, go check out our last episode. That was a lot of fun. Two-parter for that one, actually, which is pretty interesting.
Exactly. Lots to talk about. We like that.
Indeed. So for this episode, eventually, Multi ends up leaving. She forfeits and finishes out. She got 80 wins, and Toguro and Chopin also retire from the competition. So that leaves Kamen and King as the last two pros who are competing. And there was also the time limit that we mentioned earlier. That is going to come back very soon. We also
Toguro does lose though.
Yes.
Multi and Chopin retire. Toguro is the only one that actually loses.
Yeah, he lost out of pure tire, and it seems like he's kind
exhaustion.
He's kind of the odd one out on Team Zooganic. It seems like he's the weakest link, but he is still. I think we just haven't seen him shine yet. I think we'll get that moment at some point. But either way, we get this lovely image of Bird getting teamed up on by Kamen and his army of lemurs. We just see like 15 King Julians right here ready to kill him. And Kamen is at the helm of this, and it's just kind of funny. Like, even when the anime drags, or, like, the anime just kind of feels hopeless, Kamen X has always got something out of pocket to be like, okay, you know what, this is why I watch this anime. It's nice to see that we get to see that here in this episode.
It is. The Kamen's got his quirks and his funny jokes, and we've seen him with the lemurs the first time they were in the zoo, and it's funny. They're like, our master is back. Now we follow all of his orders once again. And Kamen is the comic relief we've always mentioned, but it's kind of different that... I mean, I guess we wanted the protagonist that is like overpowered or whatever, but at the same time, he's the first one that's been lazy and just won everything. All the other ones have been the hardest working ones to stay on top or get there, where Kamen's just like a paperweight for the rest of his team that's just always going to destroy the competition, which we've mentioned in the past how we feel about that predictability. But I'd like to see the one day he loses that he snaps and becomes a fucking menace.
I think what makes Kamen interesting is that, yes, he's basically a smurf, which means he was top rank and then he went down to the low ranks to kick ass. Although in this time he actually has a goal to get back up to the top so he can kick the ass of his former teammates who are the best. What's interesting to me about Kamen is the very duality of his character, because he has his normal, happy, cheery side, and he's got his normal competitive side when he's bay battling. But then he also has a very dark side to him that we got to see in the episode when he fought against the street thugs in the alleyway, and he just he blew up their stadium and destroyed it. I kind of wish he had destroyed their Viper Tail. That would have been brutal, but I guess too brutal for the snowflakes around nowadays. But either way, the fact that he has that character within him, that he has the ability to just lose it and absolutely destroy everything, also makes him kind of interesting, because, like, think back to like the first time we see Jinga lose it. He ends up losing the battle because he, loses his cool and whatnot. And granted, it was different circumstances where he becomes upset
very
at Ryuga, dissing his presumed to be deceased father. And I guess allegedly deceased it would be at that point.
Allegedly.
Allegedly he died. Which, if you haven't seen Metal Fight, you better go watch that. It's an anime. It's got some moments. But
indeed.
But back to Kamen, it's like, it's very different when he loses it. He kind of loses it in a very different way, where he becomes insane. Whereas in, we saw Jinga get mad and upset and he would lose his cool every now and then. Um, we see Kamen not lose his cool, but just kind of lose his mind, and he becomes this very brutal version of himself, and his skill level rises intensely. It's kind of insane, and it's like even if he does win, it still kind of wants me. That part of me wants to see him, push to his limit. Like how insane will Common X actually get, and how like how brutal can his Beyblading skills go when he gets like that.
I don't think we've ever actually seen Kamen try. He puts on a show, but I don't think he's ever actually put forth his effort into a battle, which is something hit or miss. That obviously every battle's just kind of one-sided. No matter how many times it happens, obviously he's just gonna pull out a third X dash in the same round and win, because that's the plot armor that they've developed right now. That at one point I thought we got a special move out of him, but I don't know. Yeah, it's weird how the first episode or second episode they did that whole persona where he does the extreme dash and you like got warped to a different universe. Like the whole thing went dark or in blue, and it was like him and his enemy there. It's like this is the power of the extreme dash, and now it's just like on repeat.
Yeah.
Do you not remember that?
Yeah, what was that, like the third episode when they fought Multi for the first time?
I
think
thought
that's what
you
it
were
was.
making a face. I thought you were curious about it.
Oh, I was making a face. Oh, I didn't even notice.
I think you were just chewing something on your lip.
Yeah, listening.
Yeah, I gotcha. Anyway, yeah, so they need to portray it more. It's just kind of stale at this point. I mean, they use that same animation style. I swear they've used it like 24 times at this point.
Every time an X
the first
dash.
20 episodes.
Every time we see an X dash, it's always the same music. It is the same angles. It is every time it's an extreme finish. It's always very samey. There's never any uniqueness. And that's one thing I really miss about the older gens showing the Beyblades that lose, like fall out of the stadium. They hit the ground each time. It's very different. It's like, sometimes they'll like just like spin on their sides or like land upside down or like flip over, just like smash into the wall and just like spin until they like stop and fall out or stay in there or whatever. Sometimes they just get destroyed and they're just obliterated into who knows where. But here it's always like Beyblade gets knocked out, single tank bounces off screen, and then battle ends. And it's always, I think the battles, as much as they innovate with sort of the different techniques that we see every now and then, if it ends with an X dash, especially when it's common, it's always exactly the same. And that's with the music and the angles, the sound effects, everything is samey, and it's it's like you can copy and paste to a certain point, but there's like barely any notable music in the anime apart, and we're not including the intro or the outro songs, which do slap, but there's like there's the extreme dash music, which we hear every week anyways, because that's what they use for the to show off the next episode. And then there's like the waiting music, or like the building tension or whatever music or something like that they played in the original trailer that we've heard a few times. And it's like I think one or two other themes I've kind of noticed that are not those two pieces of music that kind of have appeared. But I think one of the weakest parts of this anime is the music is just kind of lame. I mean, not necessarily lame, but like the notable music they reuse way too often, and we don't really get much else. Whereas like Metal Fight and Bakken and Shoot, I can go back and listen to those soundtracks and know this song was used at this point. This song was used for this battle. This song is played when somebody gets a stomach ache, or this song plays when Jinga's about to unleash his fury on whatever. And it's like it's very distinct with the music, and it's just not here with Beyblade X, sadly too.
Is what it is for now. That They just don't. They just haven't captured portrayal of power in this anime. It's just really soft anime. It's kind of annoying
I'm
for
kind
being such an extreme anime. It's like, well, there's no like explosions. There's no like sparks. Or I guess there might be some sparks, but it was like,
of.
I don't know. All the other animes are just kind of seemed like they portrayed power a little differently.
I mean, even in Birth, you had Beyblades breaking the layers on some of them. Like, I think that's something that showed up a little bit later, where where their Beyblade was actively destroying other Beyblades, which is still kind of pretty brutal. And every gen so far showed that. We're now here on episode 20, and we have not seen a break. We haven't seen anything get damaged whatsoever. Most we saw was Kamen X destroy a stadium, but
And Chompy.
even then, I mean, yeah, I kind of, but that's not like
Well, yeah. Well, Chompy's not portrayed to be anything special. That's like if they were gonna use whatever the heck his dude's name is in the anime itself, they wouldn't have gave him a defense type, and they wouldn't have gave him Chompy. He would have been able to break bays with his own Beyblade, because that's just how Beyblade works.
yeah.
And then they just did that twice and said, oh well, actually he's just a filler character and he doesn't actually have any real power. But it's like, okay, well, there's once again no tension there now because they just kind of threw that storyline away.
Yeah, or he would have stepped on the Beyblades. I think there's a
Hmm.
significantly less brutal feeling in this generation of Beyblades anime compared to the rest of them that I can kind of understand, but I also don't really like that much. I kind of wish we did get to see the more brutal side of Beyblade and we get to see more evil people, and so far there's no evil really. I mean, Takumi was the closest thing we had, and even then he had a whole transformation in the last episode, so he doesn't really count anymore. There's no other like apparently evil Beybladers that we've seen yet, so kind of leads you to wonder what we're going to see in the climax of this anime.
Hmm.
Are we going to see an evil
Because that's what,
mastermind, or are we going to see just
yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
that's where they say, I don't know, they portray Burn as like the second coming of the Beyblade Lord. But then at the same time, he's supposed to be the all-powerful one that has an evil plan that he's hiding his true power and gonna destroy everyone. But at the same time, he still gives children Beyblades and makes their fans happy. It's like, are you gonna give someone an actual character, or you're gonna play both sides of the coin every character?
Yeah,
It's
they
it's,
never really show Burn
it's
being
weird.
like evil or anything. They just show him being a businessman. I mean, he makes a very hot product, gives it out for free in order to oversaturate the market, get everyone on the train that Phoenix Feather is the best, which it clearly isn't because it's getting defeated by the pros now. And then he comes out with Phoenix Wing. In the manga, it's a lot more clear what he intended to do with Phoenix Feather, and they kind of show that. But in here, because the anime is dragging so long, and we've seen Phoenix Feather debut now, and we've seen how powerful it is. But now the pros are overcoming it. So by the time Phoenix Wing is used in the battle against Team Persona, it's probably not going to have as much allure as it will now, because it's
Hmm.
like, well, Phoenix Feather's been defeated, so it's like, what else is next to defeat? Whereas like they weren't necessarily ready for Phoenix Wing, it seemed in the manga. So I think again with this, the general pacing and everything, as much as we've said the manga is much worse compared to the anime at this point, the anime isn't all that much better at the end of the day. We just get like a couple more things that are a little bit nicer in the anime than the manga, but either way, both are relatively subpar for Beyblade standards, and I think that's definitely a shame.
Yep, they could since day one, there's been potential, and there still is potential, but we'll see. I don't know. We've seen in the past that they've changed animation studios or whatever. I don't know. I highly doubt they're gonna do that. But
Maybe.
in theory, they could change writers at least.
I would hope they change the writers. Honestly, writers and animation studio. Now, granted, 80K,
I'd like an overhaul.
80K is all right. No hate to them, and I know they're working they've been
Hmm.
working overtime on this, so their job is not easy with these. But at the same time, I would like to see season 2 come out a little bit later than season 1, because I think the products are right now the best part. They're the main selling point for Beyblade X. Mim tried to call me again, but either way,
Same time. Wow. Come on,
every
man.
time he's like clockwork. Nah, but uh, I hope we get to see like a different studio take over. Season 2 gets a complete writing overhaul. We get to see more in-depth story. We get to see returning characters. We get to see new characters. Hopefully, we actually get to see a little bit more stakes. We get to see more, unrealism, more fiction, more, like fantastical elements. Because at the end of the day, even if, the Beyblades can't necessarily fly into the air and create giant tornadoes or, destroy mountains and obliterate, its surroundings and kill people, yet be crushed under someone's foot. I just wondered about that, but either way, it's like I wish we did get. I really hope that they, kind of 180 on the universe, and they're just like, screw it. We're giving it the metal fight treatment where it's all, insane after a point. But I think the way it is now, because they're trying to do it so realistically, it makes it very lackluster. And even the way that they're portraying Bird, where it's like he loses all the time, it doesn't make me want to buy any of the Hell's Bays, which sucks because the Hell's Bays are actually are pretty decent. You get 560 on Hell's Chain, and Hell's Chain is decent for attack. Hell's Scythe is still, pretty decent meta part. Taper is really good too. It's like, these are good Beyblades and good parts. And, if I was seeing this, like, 12 years ago, and I was watching Bird and his Beyblades battle, I'd be like, damn, I guess the Hell's Beyblades really suck. I guess there's no reason for me to get them. So I think the anime is really stabbing itself in the foot with how it's being written here. And it's like, honestly, they could have had Bird just be your generic character that, wins a lot and then loses every now and then, goes on some kind of weird training journey, comes back and, wins again. And it's like, that would have sold the product. But as it is now, I don't have any reason based off the anime to buy Hell's Scythe or Hell's Chain because he's consistently losing. And I think that's a huge downfall with this anime. But I think we've complained a bit. We've complained quite a bit now. So Elliot, I will let you finish up any more final thoughts you have on that. And all right, perfect.
Nope. I'm all good.
All right, wonderful. Moving right on. So pretty much Bird wins. He bamboozles Kamen into trying to fight King, and then it doesn't work because Kamen just kind of is like, nah, I don't feel like battling, even though they set up to battle. And then Bird jumps in, he's all confused, but then the time is up and he wins. So Bird wins the tag battle. I guess he wins something, so he's not completely worthless.
Not completely worthless. That's the key word.
Mm-hmm. Not completely. And then we missed the screenshot where they let Bird ride an elephant after he won for whatever reason. I don't know what the goal was. If it was Metal Fight, they would have given him like 2,000 Bay points or whatever. They would have given him like tangible stuff. Although they don't care about Bay points after like season 1. Which sucks, too, because the Bay Pointer was so cool. Kind of wish they had done more with that.
I would hope... I don't know. Maybe we'll see... Well, I don't know. Because there's so much they could do with the Battle Pass. But they literally bring it up like once every time they build a new Beyblade or new competitor or whatever. It's like, you could have other tournaments. You could do something other than friendly battles at the park. And have the Bay Pointer be used for a VIP entrance to a tournament or something. Mm-hmm. But hopefully they fledge out a lot more things in the next season that should be more screen time and detailed.
Yeah, like, I think if there's one thing that Takara is messing up is that they're not showing off how unique and interesting the products are. It's like, yeah, we get to see the X Dash, and yeah, we get to, note some aspects of the actual Beyblades, but at the end of the day, we're not seeing the level of attention that was put into the concepts of Beyblade X. It's like, a lot of the main stories kind of touch on that, but a lot of the filler stories mostly just focus on other things. And it almost feels like they kind of are trying to not talk about Beyblade in the Beyblade anime. It's really weird. It's kind of giving me like really late Thomas the Tank Engine vibes, where they were like making Thomas the Tank Engine a train be anything but a train. You know, you're marketing a television show about trains, and you're having them hate being trains and showing them being whatever god, whatever else. And it's like, and then they wonder why they're not selling their train toys. And it's like with Beyblade X, it's like we see all these episodes where they go to the gym and they go to the zoo and they go to the museum, and it's like Beyblade takes a back seat for the most part. It's like all the characters thought about the earlier seasons. It's like, oh, Beyblade, day and night, I breathe, sleep, and eat Beyblades. And now it's just like, oh yeah, Beyblade kind of exists. And like the only character that loves Beyblade as much as anyone else from the older seasons is Kamen. And even then, it's like, he turned away from fighting King just because he was tired. And it's like, I get all kinds of mixed signals from this anime. But either way, one thing that's very interesting is that they mentioned a possible mayor character, which kind of, I think, was probably the only thing to take away from this episode, is that there is a mayor. And they said that in terms of Phoenix Feather, I think that this isn't the end. The mayor will probably be hurt even more, something, something. Auto subs, probably didn't do it justice, but is there a mayor character who is invested in Beyblade, or, stakes or something? Is there some kind of, maybe, is there going to be political undertones in this anime like everything else nowadays in, mainstream media? If there is, I'm going to be severely disappointed, because if there's one thing that I love about Beyblades, it's how little politics actually get brought up, at least in, the part of the community that I'm in. We don't really talk about it that often, and we, mostly try to avoid it. And even when we do, every blue moon, we're civil about it. So I'm hoping that Beyblade doesn't go down the path of...
They're not doing anything with it.
I don't know. They're making Bird lose, and they're actively harming, in my opinion, they're harming their, their product sales via the anime. In terms of, like, kids are going to see this and see how Bird loses, and they're going to be like, oh, I don't want to get a Hell Scythe Beyblade. He always loses with it. And
I think they're just trying to level out to Karatomi and Hasbro. Hasbro's going down, to Karatomi needs to come back down.
no, Tomy is so cool. Like, I'm digging back into Thomas the Tank Engine, but it's like, even though the classic show got ended so that the shitty reboot could come out, Tomy is still making the original line of toys alongside the reboot line of toys. Like, they're still invested in the fans that actually care about the good parts of the series. And it's like, I would be surprised if, Tomy actively tries to stoop down to Hasbro's height, which they obviously wouldn't. We're joking with that. But, I mean, I think Beyblade X right now, in terms of its anime and manga, only its anime and manga, by the way, the products are fantastic. All the products that we've gotten so far
For sure.
are really good stuff. Even UX, as much as I think it's overhyped, I still think UX is great. I think it looks fantastic, and it's going to be a lot of fun when it comes out. But the anime and the manga are just not doing it in terms of selling me the products. I read and I watch the Beyblade X anime and manga, and it's like, I don't want to be involved with them, which really sucks, because, the point of it is to sell, and it's not doing a great job at that, in my opinion, which is a shame.
Yeah, they definitely, it's different. It's a weird series that they do things differently than what we would have expected, but that's we asked for our expectations to be averted, but they just went a completely different way with them. On most things.
It's like we wanted them to be like, okay guys, so we've seen these 3 gens and whatnot, take us in a different direction. And they could have gone any direction, but they went backwards. They went the complete opposite direction, and it just kind of feels weird. But anyways, for the next episode, which actually kind of looks alright, we get a shot here of Hell's Chain actually catching up to Drawn Sword on the X line. So maybe we'll see Bird actually learn some new techniques, or we'll see a demo battle maybe. At this point with these battles, when they do them in in the sushi shop, you never know who's using the Beyblades. After the gym episode where they had Maiden and Kamen using, Multi's Beyblades and everything, who knows who is actually using Hell's Chain. It could be Kamen using Hell's Chain and Bird using Drawn Sword, for all we know. So that'll definitely be interesting to see. In the next episode, we also get this really interesting shot of Bird just looking absolutely, completely out of art style, which honestly, this art style is kind of cool. I kind of like this more, like,
Like a manga type style.
yeah, it kind of reminds me of like Avatar: The Last Airbender. Sometimes they have like those flashbacks with like the thicker outlines. That's kind of what it's reminding me of. It reminds me of like a more stylized, like yeah, sort of manga-esque drawing. Which, I mean, if this was the whole series, honestly, I think I could forego a lot of my complaints. But it's not. Sadly, it looks a lot like Burst. But either way, this was kind of cool. So we're gonna be seeing Bird make sushi. And we also get a really interesting thing here where Multi has, or well, maybe not Multi, but we see Night Shield on the extreme line. We also see Multi's colors under her eyes sort of appear here in this battle, and we get another screenshot here of the what do you call it? Night Shield on the extreme line. So I'm very curious to see if we're gonna see like a training episode where they kind of develop their skills more, which after this episode being the way that it was, I would really hope that the next episode is, like a training episode where we get to see more skills developed. But definitely excited to see Night Shield on the extreme line.
Yeah, that's what we saw that and I was like, huh. Now that they pointed out, we have not seen that. I thought we saw Wizard on the extreme line, but maybe not. Maybe we've only seen attack types or imbalance types on the extreme line so far. So not 100% sure, but that's where the episode ends, and they leave us possibly wanting more, as they do. Looks like I'm going to be talking for a while now because Metal is currently devouring something, but anime episode is pretty good. Product talk, not as detailed as our previous episode, so go check that out once again. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you for watching. If you left a comment on our video, thank you. If you didn't, let me go check. If you didn't, let me go check. If you didn't, you should, because I checked and we don't have comments.
You guys should comment. We'll always read the comments on whatever podcast you leave. So be sure to leave your thoughts and ideas because we would love to hear them. We'd love to talk about them, and we will do that. Also, be sure to check out the follow-up to this episode where we're going to go over something very interesting. And I was going to make my own video on this, but I decided that it would be more interesting to talk about it with Elliot here and discuss it and break down our ideas. So that's going to be out probably same day or next day or so. So be sure to check out the follow-up to this one where we go over something very interesting with Mattel. But either way, that's going to conclude this episode of the Beyblade X anime. Certainly a lot of stuff to delve into. But yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Or I guess next episode, next time.
There you go. Thanks for watching, guys. Blade Dragons out.